Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's all great and fantastic and wonderful. Yesterday's video was a little bit of a detour from what we've been talking about lately, and I really appreciate all the thoughtful and warm comments. Thank you. And some of you reached out to me personally, through other channels. Thank you for that also. I really, really appreciate the contact. I think I've been missing contact recently, and I think that not having, I think that that's part of the reason why I've been kind of slipping in my head, is the lack of contact. That's not fair to the people in my life, but maybe that's how I'm feeling right now. And so I want to kind of circle back to I know I had a thought yesterday that I wanted to extrapolate and try to talk about more today, but I don't remember what that was. And instead I want to talk a little bit about tenacity. And this kind of goes back into the game design stuff we've been talking about for the last few months and just my life in general. Is if there's one thing I could characterize myself as, it's a lack of tenacity. I have a severe lack of tenacity. In fact, this thing that I'm doing right now in front of this camera at this exact moment in time is the most tenacity I've shown possibly in my entire life. And it's only because when I do a video like this, I know that you guys are going to reach out and say something, or you're my friends, right? You're going to comment, you're going to uplift. And if it wasn't for, the half dozen to dozen of you that come back every day, this would have fallen apart years ago, right? Because I don't have the tenacity to see things through. I never have. And I have this kid. I actually have two of them. And they're both very driven for the things that they desire, right? My oldest daughter, she wants to do theater. She wants to be a stage performer. That's her goal in life. On top of that, she loves music and she loves being a musician. And she puts so much heart and soul into practicing. She's been seeing a vocal coach for over a year now. She's been, she's in her school's theater program. She picked up guitar. She picked up ukulele at like 12 and just started teaching herself ukulele. She's never had a lesson in her life, can play dozens of songs. She picked up guitar last year, just decided she was going to learn guitar. And she's learning finger picking songs, difficult stuff, all just sitting down and forcing herself to do it. And I admire that because I don't have that, right? I have tried to teach myself guitar at least a half dozen times in my life, and finger cramps and pain and just lack of progress. I just give up eventually. That's just too much effort. I'm not willing to put the effort into that. And that characterizes nearly everything I've ever done. Once it becomes effort, I'm not enjoying it anymore. I move on and do something else that I do enjoy, which is generally learning. And we've talked about my collection of skills many times. I would rather learn a new skill than try to master an old skill, because the mastering is the difficult part. And I don't want to do it. It's just too much effort. And so I'm coming back to these games, and for 2 straight months, that's all you heard about from me was game design. And now that I've hit that bump where I've been rejected and my other game isn't quite ready and I can't even find anybody to look at my third game, and my fourth game is questionably marketable, I've hit that bump where now it's the hard work process, and I don't know that I have it. I want to believe that I do. I want to believe that all 4 of these games that I have currently in my bag are marketable products. I want to believe that. Part of me does. The optimistic part of me goes, they are marketable products. I just have to find the market. And maybe I have to invent it. Maybe I have to take that project on myself, because I have to prove something, because there's not a publisher willing to take a chance. I don't think so. I think that there is a publisher that currently exists for all 4 of these products. I just haven't found them yet. And it's going to take time. And it's going to take effort. And it's going to take tenacity, which I may or may not have. I'd like to believe that I do. But I give up so easily. My children do not. Now, my children give up on all the things they don't want to do, right? My children give up on when things get tough in school. They're just, I don't want to deal with that. And it would be great to have a life where I didn't have to deal with things I don't want. It'd be great if I didn't have to have the job that I have. I like my job. I enjoy the people that I work with, and I do interesting work, but it's work, right? It's not for me. It's literally so that I can continue to live. That's the reason that I go to my job. I don't go to my job because I'm passionate about it. I go to my job because it's what's required as an adult, right? Like, that's what I have to do to keep eating. If it was up to me, and I've said this before, I would just like to create things and be paid for that. But that's not a job. Like, that doesn't exist. That's called being an artist, and that's something that you spend decades of your life starving through to try to make it. And I don't have decades of my life to do that. I own, a home that I have to pay for, and I have children that I have to pay for, and I have, bills. Right? I can't afford to just throw it all away and on a dream. And at the same time, I don't have the tenacity to put forth the effort to build a set of skills that is sellable, to build a set of skills that is marketable. And my kids do. My youngest plays soccer, plays softball, and that is all they think about. Like, that's everything. And if there's not a scheduled practice, we're practicing in the yard. If it's not a scheduled game, we're out there practicing some form of those two sports. And when there's a game, it shows, right? When there's a game, my kid shows. The skill shows, right? And I've never had that. Like, I'm not going to say never. I think there are things in my life that I have put forth the effort for. I just generally find that I'm not good enough, and I end up just settling at some point, I have put forth the effort to be good at board games, but I'm not, and I'll never be. And I'm okay with that. I've settled with where I am. There was a point in my life where I put forth the effort to be a competitive CCG player, and I was good, but I was never going to be great, and I was okay with that. I think I've gotten to a point in my woodworking where I can create nice things, and that's about as far as I'm willing to take it, because that next step of becoming a master craftsman is such tiny, tiny, tiny increments. It's just not worth it to me. I don't have the tenacity for that. It's straight up what it comes out to. I don't have the tenacity. I would rather create okay things and move on and create more okay things than to spend, if I could create half a dozen okay things versus one great thing, I'd rather make the half dozen okay things. Because I can, as opposed to I'm not going to destroy myself trying harder to be better at something that is a pipe dream. Maybe that's it. Maybe I've become a cynic, and that's the problem. I don't know. But I look at my children, and I marvel at their tenacity, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of who they've become. Despite their role models, but despite who I am. I'm not a role model for that. But they take it upon themselves to be better, and that's pretty amazing. So anyway, still haven't got the games back. The game, there's only one out. I still haven't gotten it back. Hopefully, I received a shipping notice for, I haven't ordered anything. Hopefully that means it's coming this weekend, and I'll be able to get back to it, and maybe have a new playable prototype soon. But in the meantime, I've just been kind of lost because I don't have a project to work on right now. I kind of want to work on the train game, but I'm also kind of happy with it where it sits. And so maybe I just need to find a publisher to show it to so that I can get rejected and work on it some more. I don't know. That's all I have for you today. Again, thank you all for your amazing comments yesterday. It felt wonderful. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is hypercritical. It's an adjective meaning excessively or meticulously critical. Good writers have two things in common. They would rather be understood than admired, and they do not write for hair-splitting and hypercritical readers. Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher. Hypercritical. Hypercritical. I feel like you and I know somebody who's hypercritical. Possibly of themselves. Definitely of themselves.